Alright guys, welcome to a new video. A lot has happened in the past 2 weeks and we're gonna just run through it all, reflect on what was said last video and yeah, let's do it. First off, let me remind you that if you're looking for an exchange or anything, check out the partners below and let's head straight into it. So first off, I got this weekly chart here for Bitcoin with the bull market support band. The bull market support band consists of the 20-week SMA and the 21-week EMA. And this has basically been an indicator that I'm not sure if Benjamin Cohen created it, or at least he put it on the radar. And this has been a pretty reliable indicator of whether Bitcoin was basically in a higher time frame bullish trend or bearish trend, which you can see especially in 2017 or like the 2017 cycle. This has held pretty remarkably, and basically the moment it broke, the bear market started as well. Obviously since then it has been a bit more choppy, but overall you can see it tends to provide some decent support and resistance on this weekly time frame. So, well, we're trading well above it, so this is looking quite good. This will start curling back up, so at some point, if we do retest it towards the downside, you'd want to see this being held. To easily journal and track your trades, consider trying out CoinMarketManager. It's as simple as connecting your exchange API to the website to get your analytics ready. Sign up using the link below, get a 14-day trial, and I hope you really enjoy it. I know I've been using it for a while and I can't go without at this point. Heading onto the daily. Last time, I think last video, we recorded around here, so there was before all the breakouts and whatnot. We basically fell below the 200-day EMA, the blue line here, for a while, but we bounced off support nicely, which you can see this support basically lasting throughout this entire area. From there on out, we got this fake ETF news pump. So this was a bit weird because Cointelegraph posted something about the ETF being approved, which was not the case. We quickly found out within like 10 minutes that it was just one source, and then nothing new was reported, and so people found out. So we wicked up to like 30k on spot, and then I think the perpetual and futures exchanges squeezed up to like maybe 30.5 or 31 or something. So this obviously caused for a huge wick. But we were already up on the day, so as you can see here, like the actual news thing itself retraced fully, but the move before it was already there before. So the day still ended up in the green pretty nicely, and from there on out, I think this sparked like a lot of shorting. People expecting like this entire move would have to retrace, but in the end we did close above the daily 200 MA, which didn't really happen for a long time actually, because we had the grayscale pump here. That one was obviously quickly retraced, but ever since that point, like it's been a while, and we've mostly been rejecting here. So after this, we held it. We also flipped this support here at 28 to 28.5k, and from there on out, we just took off. And obviously, we're getting some encouraging signs about the ETF potentially being here soon. I will say that yes, I think it's likely that we will get an approval, but we don't know when. And let's say it's maybe 2 or 3 months out still, or yeah, something about that. That would still, I think it's pretty close, but if it's taking more time than people are expecting, like right now we just had a week of upside because people are expecting something good to happen like anytime soon. So with such a move, always be careful of what the expectations are and what is most likely to happen. So I don't think we're gonna see like an ETF this week or next week, for example. If let's say it takes a month, I think that it will already kind of kill the momentum for now a bit. So even though trend is up, I'm bullish. Like everything is looking great, but we are getting a bit overextended, and we're also seeing fundings flipping positive, all that kind of stuff. So I don't think this is the place to just go blindly long every green candle. But of course, if you're in spot, I'm personally not doing anything with that. I'm just holding and just enjoying the ride. Just be careful not to go crazy on leverage or anything, and that's always the case basically. So yeah, I mean, in terms of the chart, everything looks great. I want to see if we maybe get a retest at like 32.8 or maybe around here at 32-ish. I would want to see these highs being held in case we do test down here. Good chance we don't even get there. If we do, we really don't want to see this. This would be awful. But I mean, it's pretty far away for now, so we just have to play it level by level. And towards the upside, I would see this as like the main target zone in case we get another leg up, which corresponds to like this entire area. This is basically before the Luna collapse and Celsius and BlockFi, all those kind of things that happened in the summer of 2022. I think this would be a good level to target approximately. I still think up on an ETF approval, we will be up like, I'd say maybe 20% on the day. I have been saying that since like the past few months. I will say, and I also tweeted this out, like let's say we keep running up into the ETF because there's gonna be like some rumors or whatever that it's gonna be confirmed next week, something like that. And price runs up to like 40K or whatever because of it. Then in that case, there's already, which is already happening now as well, there's gonna be so much being priced in as well. I still think we're gonna go up on the day, obviously, because it's pretty solid. But keep in mind, like the more we move up into these kind of things, the less extreme the actual reaction will be. So let's, in the extreme case, let's say we're at like 50K and then the ETF gets approved. I don't think we're gonna be up 20% on that single day anymore once it gets approved. It's probably gonna be like 5 to 10% maybe, and yeah. So keep that in mind. Like the more gets priced in, the less extreme the reaction will be. But I think still the fact that we're at like between 30 and 40K. I mean, we were here last cycle as well. A lot has changed, obviously. So ETF approval would still be super bullish, especially in the long term. Just don't get too crazy with like the shorter term expectations on it. It also will take a while for it to get launched and to actually get some inflows and stuff like that, because people that want to front run the ETF or whatever, they're already buying now, or they have been for the past few months or something. So on day one, who's actually gonna buy into this ETF? I mean, there's gonna be plenty of people, and I think it's gonna be getting some decent inflows. But like the main people that wanted to front run will have done so by then, and I think it will just take time, and it will be a gradual process for this ETF to really build up some solid inflows. And yeah, so basically that's my thoughts on BTC here. Overall, looking good. I mean, trend is up. It's clear as day. Like we made our low, and depending where you wanna, I'd say this is the first high, then correction. I mean, you can just see where we keep making higher highs, higher lows. So as long as this keeps going, there's no need to be bearish on the higher time frames. All right, heading on to Bitcoin dominance, which has obviously moved up with Bitcoin, which was to be expected. EBTC has just not been showing any signs of life, which you'd hope, like during this consolidation here, like these few days already, that ETH would catch up, and alts as well. I mean, some alts did well on the move up, but a lot of them didn't, and they're now consolidating as well. I do think eventually, upon approval, we'll get like one more spike up on Bitcoin dominance. Like let's say we get it, for example, today, and then we'll spike up into this area, I'd assume, because of the upside on Bitcoin. And then shortly after, I do think Bitcoin dominance will top out as alts catch up, and people are like, okay, well, that was ETF. We're now, some are probably gonna sell, and some are just gonna rotate into alts afterwards. And I think that will do well for the alt Bitcoin pairs afterwards. So until then, I'm gonna be cautious, especially as this keeps trending up. Like let's say this starts breaking back below these previous horizontal levels. I would be fine with allocating BTC into alts, but for now I'm just sticking with what I have. Yeah, just waiting until this either tops out somewhere or shows some weakness, because for now Bitcoin is really overall the strongest asset in this market. Obviously there's some altcoins that are outperforming, but like the overall altcoin market is not doing better than Bitcoin for the past, what is this? It's now been over a year. So Bitcoin was the best thing to bet on during this time, and I think it will stay that way until like ETF is probably approved and we can look forward again. So about ETH BTC, it didn't hold this initial range low like back in the summer of 22. This was also during the Luna collapse, all that stuff. This turned out to be a nice deviation, and we tested the range high again. And since then, we've just been slowly bleeding off, and well, not as slowly anymore recently. So I would want to see what happens at this low here, which could potentially, like, it could see it easily extend to something like this, test the high from back in the start of 2021, and then hopefully do something like this. If not, you're probably gonna, you can just keep drawing these horizontal levels and see from there. But I'd really want to see it kind of keep this range as a whole, like this entire block. I would want to see it hold here, so it can, during this next cycle, it can hopefully grind its way back up. And this is important for altcoin strength in general, as if ETH is weak against BTC, usually alts are as well. And when ETH BTC goes up, alts usually tend to go up much more as well. So keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on this level. Alternatively, of course, this could turn into a deviation as well, similar to the last one, where you get something like this. But yeah, that's yet to be seen. So in this case as well, we're in between two big horizontal levels at like 0.055 and 0.049. So I'd say just wait until you'll get a reaction in either one of these, and you'll know more after that. Now to reflect on a few coins that we talked about before. So Link, so last video was around here, so we're trading at about the mid-range, and I think I was saying like, okay, well, at some point, hopefully this range is going to break out, because we've been here for like 1.5 years. We had all these lower highs, like marginally lower highs. So at some point, once we would start breaking above those, it would likely turn into a bit of a squeeze. Well, we got that, because basically in 2 days, we went from the mid-range all the way up above the range for like a 35% gain. Finally breaking above this range, which has also been retested as support already. And these two drawings were basically what I had drawn out for potential plays upon breaking above this range. So thing is, we did retest the support already, so would basically be this kind of scenario. I would want to see this just hopefully consolidate a bit higher. Like it's not ideal if it starts consolidating on this top of the range, because then it only takes one candle, you retrace the entire thing, you're back in the range, and then this would be just be one big deviation. So the way it's doing now is, I think it's pretty solid. So ideally it just hovers around here, at some point starts grinding back up and goes for the next leg higher. Overall, as long as this range high is being held, like we don't trade below it anymore, I would start targeting like these levels over time. Obviously this is not going to be an overnight move. It could literally be ages. Like we can just do this for a long time, you know. It can take you, like, it's not gonna hopefully take an entire year, but this can take weeks or months until this plays out. Like a lot can happen in between. But I'm bullish on Link, especially as long as it trades above here. And I think on Twitter we bought, well, I do know on Twitter we bought this range deviation somewhere around like 5-6 or so, and I'm still holding that same spot back. So just holding steady here and seeing where this wants to go. As overall, I do like the chart, and especially seeing it just broke out of a 1.5 year range looks pretty solid. Then onto Solana. well, we were trading, I think, yeah, around here. I was saying like, okay, we can still make like a higher low or whatever, and this doodle kind of played out pretty well, I guess. We tested this because we had the 4-hour 200 MA and EMA and the daily 200 MA and EMA there, which held nicely. So let me remove these real quick. And I mentioned like, okay, at some point, kind of similar to Link, you want to see this range high being retaken, similar to here. Well, we did it. We didn't even come back down to retest it, which I think is perfectly fine as it shows a lot of strength. And this is basically also being up only. You can see with these wicks on the candles that these dips are just getting bought up pretty quickly. And I think at some point this will take out this high here, which is before the FTX collapse. So we had like about an equal high here, about at like 38, 39. And I think it makes sense that at some point we're gonna take out this level, and depending on whether it's a sweep or we just continue up, you can watch for the next move. But yeah, I think Solana also looks pretty good, and same here. We get these the low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high already. And yeah, I mean, obviously this can still do something like this and then do something like this. But the trend is pretty clear, like it is up. So until that changes, I think this is just a steady one to hold. But it's the case for like a lot of coins currently. So yeah, looks pretty good. Lastly, Arbitrum. I don't think I spoke about it in the last video, but I did in prior videos. It did get up to like the top of this range or channel or whatever you want to call it. We did get a rejection so far. So until it really breaks out, and ideally also above like this $1 area, this is consolidating, and I wouldn't get too hyped about it just yet. We can also see like the daily 200 MA and EMA coming in here, so those will also meet around this region. And ideally, this should do something like this at some point, and then really take off. I mean, the chart's still pretty clean. The support area to hold is this area now. It has kind of been testing this today, so let's see what it can do here. Overall, I just like the project, like the chart-ish. I mean, just want to see some strength now before really getting hyped up about this. All right, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed and found it useful. If you liked, don't forget to subscribe. It really helps a lot for the algorithm as well. And yeah, I see you guys on Twitter or whatever, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.